Mom? The girl's voice trembled. Elena wanted to say she was fine, that she would go to work, that Mr. Khalid al-Hamad tolerated no delays. But the words wouldn't come. Only the pain, sharp, lodged in her ribs with every attempt to breathe. Sophia touched her mother's forehead and felt the scorching heat. Panic. She knew what it meant to miss work at the Bel Air mansion, to lose the only source of income that kept them alive. 9 years. 9 years Elena had worked for that silent, reserved man, with serious eyes and precise gestures. 9 years without a single day missed. The girl ran to the small kitchen cabinet and pulled out the old coffee can where her mother kept a key. The spare key to the mansion, saved for emergencies. Sophia looked out the window. It was still dawn, dark, cold, 4 in the morning. She put on her thin coat, grabbed the bus fare hidden in the old coffee can in the pantry, and ran out, crossing Los Angeles alone. At 13, with fear trembling in her chest and tears burning in her eyes, was an act of desperation. But Sophia couldn't let her mother lose everything. Not now, not like this. The door to the Bel Air mansion opened silently. Sophia entered trembling, took off her dirty sneakers, and walked to the kitchen. She washed the previous night's dishes with hands red from the hot water, organized the utensils, wiped the marble counter, as she had seen her mother do 1,000 times. She cried softly, trying to stifle her sobs, until she heard footsteps. But upon entering the kitchen, he found something unexpected. A thin teenager, in a wrinkled school uniform, crying by the sink. Khalid stopped. "Who are you?" Sophia turned, startled, wiping her tears with the back of her hand. "I'm Sophia, Elena's daughter." He frowned. Elena, his employee. 9 years of impeccable silent work, almost invisible. He knew little about her, only that she was punctual, efficient, respectful. He had never asked about her life. He had never needed to. The girl swallowed hard. "She's sick, senor. Couldn't get up. I came because she can't lose her job. Please." Khalid crossed his arms, processing the situation. "You crossed the city alone at this hour?" Sophia nodded, trembling. "I had to. She always says you don't tolerate tardiness." Something tightened in Khalid's chest. It wasn't anger. It was something else, an odd discomfort, almost guilt. He looked at the girl, small. Khalid drove with a tense jaw, while Sophia tremulously gave directions. When they arrived at the 3-story building, with its peeling paint, narrow staircase, and the persistent smell of mildew, he understood for the first time the true dimension of Elena's life. Inside the tiny apartment, she lay delirious with fever, her lips quacked, her skin pale. Khalid touched her forehead and felt the brutal heat. He didn't think. He carried her in his arms, too light, too fragile, and took her straight to the car. Hospital, now. Elena was rushed to admission. The diagnosis came in the dry voice of a tired doctor. Advanced pneumonia, severe condition, risk of respiratory failure. Weeks without treatment, overwork, an exhausted body. Khalid sat on the hard waiting room chair beside Sophia. The girl held a cup of lukewarm water and stared at the floor, her eyes red, her fingers fidgeting. He didn't know what to say. He had never been good with words outside a corporate context, but he felt he needed to say something. "Your mother will be okay." Sophia looked at him, disbelieving. "What if she loses her job? What if you—" "She won't lose it." Khalid's voice was firm, "and you don't need to worry about that." The girl collapsed in tears. Khalid felt his chest clench. He reached out a hesitant hand and touched her shoulder, an awkward but sincere gesture. They remained like that until the doctor returned and allowed them to enter the room. Elena was connected to IVs and monitors, her face still pale, but her breathing more regular. Seeing Sophia, she tried to smile, but her fragility was painful to witness. Mi amor. Her voice was hoarse. Mama, you're going to be okay. Sophia held her hand. Senor Khalid brought you. He stayed here the whole time. Elena turned her face to Khalid. Her eyes welled with tears. Sir, I am so sorry. I didn't mean to cause trouble. I will pay for everything, I swear. You will not pay for anything. Khalid interrupted, his voice harsher than intended. He took a deep breath, softening his tone. You will recover. Your salary will continue to be paid. Sophia will have what she needs. This is not open for discussion. Elena closed her eyes, tears tracing paths down her cheeks. Not from relief, from shame, from gratitude, from a burden she did not know how to carry. Why are you doing this, sir? Khalid had no answer. He didn't know why he had canceled meetings, why he had carried a near stranger in his arms, why he remained there. He only knew he could not do otherwise, because it's the right thing to do. She entered the hospital room like a sharpened blade, dressed in a tailored black suit, heels echoing in the hallway, expensive perfume dominating the air. Khalid sat beside Elena's bed, reviewing emails on his phone, while Sophia read a book in the chair next to him. Khalid. Lena's voice cut through the silence. We need to talk. He lifted his tired face. Not now, Lena. Now, yes. She glanced at Elena, still frail but awake, and at Sophia. In private. Khalid sighed, stood and walked with her into the corridor. Lena waited for the door to close before she exploded in rapid, angry Arabic. What are you doing? Do you know what people are saying? That Khalid Al-Hamad is spending days in a public hospital because of a domestic employee? This is unacceptable. Khalid replied in the same language, his tone controlled. She is ill. I am helping. What is the problem? The problem is the image, the foundation, the family, your position. You cannot involve yourself like this with her. Lena spat the last word like venom. She has worked for me for 9 years. She almost died because she couldn't afford to take care of herself. I will not turn my back now. Pay for her treatment and return to work. Let the hospitals do their job. You don't need to stay here as if you were. Lena paused, searching for words. As if you were responsible for her. But I am. Khalid crossed his arms. I should have noticed sooner. I should have asked. I should have known she needed help. Lena stepped forward, her face hardened. You are letting emotion guide you. This will end badly, Khalid. For you and for her. There are limits, hierarchies, realities that do not change because you feel guilty. It's not guilt, it's responsibility. He met her gaze. And I will not discuss this with you. Lena forced a cold smile. I hope you know what you are doing. She left, but distrust settled. Elena behind the door, you can and will. Khalid set her suitcase down. Sophia, your room's next door, with a study desk. Need anything? Just ask. The girl looked to her mother, awaiting permission. Elena wanted to refuse, but too tired to fight. She nodded. Sophia ran to the next room, eyes wide at the clean bed. New books, a window with natural light. Thank you, Elena whispered, her voice breaking. Khalid nodded, leaving before she saw his emotion. He didn't understand his feelings. Not pity, not duty. Something deeper unsettled him since he'd carried Elena, feeling her lightness, as if she barely had enough weight to exist in this brutal world. The weeks brought an odd, unexpected routine. Elena, recovering, avoided her room, but Sophia explored the house. Khalid found the girl intelligent, curious, and passionate about math. He helped her studies at breakfast, correcting exercises over black tea and emails. Elena watched from afar, her heart torn by gratitude and fear. Fear this was temporary. Khalid would one day realize its absurdity. fears Sophia would grow accustomed, only to suffer returning to boil heights. Khalid showed no regret. Instead, something in him shifted. Meals, once solitary and functional, became conversations. Sophia shared school stories, Khalid explained cultures, and Elena gradually began to smile. One night, after Sophia slept, Elena found Khalid in the garden, stargazing. She hesitated before approaching. "May I speak with you, sir?" Khalid turned. "Of course. I don't know how to thank you for everything, but I need to know why." Her eyes shone. "Why are you doing this for us?" Khalid remained silent for a long moment. Finally, he answered with a sincerity that surprised them both. "Because I spent 3 years living on autopilot. Work, meetings, projects. Nothing touched me. And then I found Sophia crying in my kitchen, and I realized I had forgotten what truly matters." Elena felt something break open within her chest. It wasn't love yet, but it was the beginning of something that frightened and warmed her at the same time. She began subtly. Comments during Foundation meetings, insinuations about the inappropriate proximity of Khalid with an employee, suggestions that Elena might be taking advantage of the situation. Rumors carefully planted among the board members. "I'm not saying she's ill-intentioned," Elena whispered with feigned concern. "But Khalid is a vulnerable man, a widower, lonely. It's easy to manipulate someone like that." The words found fertile ground. Some board members began questioning Khalid's choices. Why was he living with a former employee? Why was her daughter studying with books paid for by the Foundation? Wouldn't it be more prudent to maintain distance? One morning, Elena received a formal phone call. She was summoned to an extraordinary meeting of the Board of Directors of the Global Tech and Education Foundation. The reason was not specified. Khalid, traveling for an event in Dubai, only found out hours later when Lena sent a message saying that internal administrative matters needed to be resolved. He called Elena immediately. "Don't go alone. Wait for me to come back." "Sir, they said it's urgent. If I don't go, they'll think I have something to hide." Her voice trembled. "I have to go." Khalid wanted to cancel his trip, but he was already on the main stage of an international conference. Trapped between two responsibilities, he chose to trust. "All right, but anything at all, you call me." Elena entered the Foundation boardroom wearing a simple outfit, her hair pulled back, hands ice cold. The long mahogany table seemed endless. 7 board members looked at her with expressions ranging from curiosity to disdain. Lena presided over the table, a courteous smile on her face. "Ms. Rivera, thank you for coming." Lena opened a folder. "There are concerns that need to be clarified. Questions regarding undue influence, possible leakage of sensitive information, and the use of Foundation resources for personal benefit." Elena blinked, stunned. "I don't understand. I never." "We are not accusing anyone," Lena interrupted smoothly. "Only investigating. But understand, Ms. Rivera, your current position, residing in the CEO's home, creates delicate appearances." The questions began. How much money had Khalid spent on her? Did she have access to confidential documents? Did she know passwords, safe combinations, private meeting details? Elena responded with a trembling voice, feeling exposed, vulnerable, guilty of crimes she had not committed. Until the door burst open. "Mom!" Elena stood up, alarmed. "Sophia, what are you doing here?" "I heard them talking." The girl turned to the board, furious and desperate. "You don't understand anything. My mom never asked for anything. Never. It was me. I was the one who crossed Los Angeles alone at dawn, to wash dishes because I didn't want her to lose her job. I was the one who was terrified. And Khalid, he saw us when no one else did. The room fell into absolute silence. Sophia was sobbing uncontrollably, and Elena pulled her into a hug, trying to comfort her, but her own tears were already falling. My mom almost died because she worked sick for weeks, and you are here judging her for accepting help? For letting someone care for us for the first time in her life? The girl's voice echoed, raw, painful. One board member lowered his head, ashamed. Another cleared his throat, uncomfortable. Lena, however, maintained her composure. No one is judging, dear. We are just… Stop. Khalid's voice cut through the room like a blade. He entered through the door, still in his suit, coming directly from the airport, his face set in controlled fury. This meeting ends now, Lena stood up, attempting to regain control. Khalid, we were merely… I know exactly what you were doing. He walked until he stood beside Elena and Sophia. And it ends here. He turned to the board, his voice cold and calculated. You want transparency? Excellent. I demand a complete and independent audit of this foundation's administration. All of it, including contracts, expenses, and protocol decisions. If anyone here is misusing resources, we will find out. Now. Lena paled. That is not necessary. No? Khalid took a step forward. Then why did you try to destroy the reputation of a woman who only did her job? Why did you fabricate suspicions against someone with no power to defend herself? The silence was sepulchral. You think protecting the foundation means maintaining appearances? Hiding humanity behind cold protocols? Then you understand nothing of what we built here. Khalid looked each board member in the eye. Elena and Sophia, stay. Any attempt to harm them will be treated as a personal attack on me. And if anyone here disagrees, they may submit their resignation now. No one moved. Khalid extended a hand to Elena. She hesitated, then took it. He helped Sophia to her feet as well, and the three walked out of the room together, leaving the board in silent shock. Outside, Elena crumpled. Khalid held her, and she wept against his chest. The full weight of weeks of fear and shame finally released. He said nothing. He simply stood there, steadfast, while Sophia held both their hands. The audit took 3 weeks. It revealed exactly what Khalid had suspected. Inflated contracts, personal expenses disguised as institutional ones, manipulation of information to benefit private interests, all orchestrated by Lena, who had used her position to consolidate power and control the foundation's public narrative. Khalid convened an extraordinary meeting. Lena was dismissed from her position without right of defense. Some board members resigned in shame. Others remained, but humiliated. Khalid restructured the foundation under new principles: absolute transparency, true social responsibility, and a commitment that never again would institutional image be worth more than human dignity. But the price was high. The Mexican and Arab press speculated. Some called Khalid irresponsible, others courageous. He didn't care. He was tired of living to please others, of following rules that made no sense, of protecting a facade while ignoring his own humanity. Elena, however, felt lost. She no longer knew her role. She wasn't a housekeeper, but she also wasn't what? A guest? A friend? Something more. One evening, after Sophia had fallen asleep, she found Khalid in the library, leafing through a book in Arabic. "I need to speak with you," she said, her voice firm despite her fear. Khalid closed the book and faced her. "I'm listening. I can't go on like this. I don't know what we are. I don't know what you expect from me. And I'm afraid Sophia will get hurt when this ends. Who said it would end? Elena blinked, disoriented. You can't want us to stay here forever. It doesn't make sense. I am… what? Khalid rose. A freelance housekeeper? A poor Mexican woman? Someone who doesn't deserve to be here? I'm someone who doesn't belong in your world. And who decides that? He walked toward her, slowly, his eyes fixed on hers. Elena, do you think I did all this out of charity? Do you think I destroyed my relationship with half the board out of pity? She didn't answer. She couldn't. I did it because I can no longer imagine this house without you. Without Sophia. Without the mornings with coffee and conversation. Without the dinners where I finally feel alive. Khalid took a deep breath. You scare me, Elena, because for the first time in 3 years, I feel something beyond emptiness. The words landed like a silent bomb. Elena felt her legs weaken. But I don't know how to do this, she whispered. I don't know how to be what you need me to be. I don't need you to be anything other than what you already are. Khalid touched her face, his gesture hesitant yet true. I just need you not to be afraid to stay. Elena closed her eyes, tears streaming down. And for the first time, she allowed herself to believe that maybe, just maybe, she deserved this. Khalid made it a point for Elena to resume her studies. He offered to pay for college, but she declined. Not yet. She first wanted to be sure she could do it, that she deserved it. He did not insist. He simply waited, patiently. While she found her own rhythm, Sophia flourished. She entered a private school with a full scholarship, earned by her own merit, after Khalid insisted she take the admission test. The girl was brilliant, and now, for the first time, she had the structure to prove it. Elena began working at the foundation, not as a domestic employee, but as a social projects assistant. Khalid insisted she had a unique perspective on the communities they aimed to help, and he was right. She transformed entire programs, brought reality to abstract ideas, connected the foundation with real people. And little by little, without realizing exactly when, love ceased to be a possibility and became a certainty. It was Sophia who noticed first. One afternoon, as the three of them were having dinner, she stopped eating and looked at her mother, then at Khalid. Are you two going to stay together? The question came out direct, without beating around the bush. Elena choked on her juice. Khalid slowly put down his fork, controlled as always. It depends, he said, looking at Elena. Your mother needs to decide if she can stand seeing me every day for the rest of her life. Elena laughed, a nervous, light sound. I think I can survive. Sophia smiled, her eyes shining. Then it's decided. But when are you getting married? I need to know so I can choose my dress. Khalid blinked, surprised. Elena blushed. And for the first time in a long time, the three of them laughed together, without fear, without burden. That night, after Sophia was asleep, Khalid found Elena in the garden. He sat beside her, and for a long moment, they simply remained in silence. She's right, you know, Khalid said finally. About what? About us. He turned to face her. Elena, I don't know how to do this the traditional way. I don't know if I can promise beautiful or romantic things, but I know I want you here, always, if you want. Elena felt her heart tighten. I'm scared. Me too. He touched her hand. But I'd rather be scared with you than live safely and empty without you. She intertwined her fingers with his. Then yes, I'll stay. Khalid kissed her forehead, soft, respectful. And in that moment, in the silence of the garden lit only by the stars, something bigger than them both began. The decor blended Mexican and Arab traditions, cempasúchil flowers alongside golden lanterns, mariachi music interspersed with Arabic songs, food celebrating both cultures. Khalid wore traditional Gulf attire, and Elena, a simple but elegant dress she had chosen herself. When they exchanged vows, they were not elaborate words, only real promises to care for each other, to respect differences, to build a family based on truth and dignity. Not as an employer, not as a savior, but as the man you taught me to be. Sophia cried in the front row. The neighbors from East Los Angeles cried too. Even some members of the foundation board, who remained after the restructuring, seemed moved. After the ceremony, as everyone ate and laughed in the garden, Khalid pulled Elena aside to a quiet corner. "Happy?" he asked. She looked around. Sophia dancing with new friends, old neighbors chatting with prominent Middle Eastern business associates. Cultures mingling without hierarchy, without barriers. More than I ever imagined possible. Me too. Khalid kissed her forehead. "Thank you for not giving up on me." Elena laughed, light. "Thank you for seeing us when we were invisible." They stood there, embraced, as the sun set over Los Angeles. It was not a fairy tale ending. It was better. It was real. It was dignified. And that night, when Sophia finally slept, exhausted from happiness, Khalid and Elena sat together on the balcony and looked at the stars. "Do you think your wife would approve?" Elena asked softly. Khalid thought for a moment. "I think she would be happy to know that I started living again." Elena rested her head on his shoulder. "I am living for the first time too." And so, from the most desperate dawn of their lives, a family was built not on wealth or position, but on something much rarer: true respect, shared courage, and the certainty that true love doesn't need a stage. Only two people willing to see each other beyond the masks the world imposes. Elena Eli Rivera was no longer invisible. Khalid Al-Hamad was no longer empty. Sophia Rivera was no longer afraid. And together, the three proved that dignity is not negotiated. It is earned. One gesture at a time. One choice at a time. One dawn of courage at a time.